Welcome back to the CNR podcast. I'm Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we got David Caires, and we're back, David, with episode 78. So, hooray to 78 and hooray to the Celtics being in the 3 seed now, David. And I have to say, last week when we did this, I predicted the Celtics go 3-0. And I think, what did you predict?
I predicted 2-1.
And I think Tommy went around the same way too, right?
Yes.
But I got it right, David. I got it right. 3-0. What's
Can
the win streak right now that we're at? Because I think we're having some trouble, Daniel and I, figuring out what win streak we're at right
Yes,
now.
so let me get that up for us right now. I can say we've won 10 of our last 12, so we've been on this run for the last few weeks here, but let's get the official streak here. 5 in a row.
5 in a row.
We
And
haven't lost a game since the 29th of November, so 10 days without a loss pretty much.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And I've been telling you, it's felt so great, David, every night to give out a CNR MVP because, I was under the impression that it was like, we're probably going to give out a handful of these this year, but we're giving a whole bucket full out of CNR MVPs right now because the Celtics keep winning right now, David, and it feels good. But what are your initial thoughts, you know, of the past week? Let's go over the wins, and because there was no dubs since we were last, I meant no L's since we were last on this podcast. So, what are your thoughts, David?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Celtics we've been accustomed to the last few years. Just so much dominance and long stretches of dominance, and we're seeing that here with this team this year without our best player, and after losing so many key contributors from the past season. I mean, it's been said over and over again, but this is a great run. Excuse me, that the Celtics are on, and I mean, we definitely should enjoy it because as we've seen with the season before this run, as quickly as things look upwards, things can start to go back in a downward trend. So we got to enjoy this. But in the 3 games we played last Thursday, as Jaylen Brown would say, was BTA to the Wizards. We beat them by 45 that game. I don't think, all respect to the Wizards, I don't think anyone was surprised by the result from that game. I mean, Jordan Walsh played 30 minutes, had 22 points. Derek White 29 minutes, 30 points. He almost had a triple double. Peyton Pritchard almost had a 20-point, 8 assists, 6 rebound triple double. And we did that all without Jaylen Brown playing. That was the first game Jaylen Brown missed all season. So it was great to have everyone step up in his absence. Baylor Shireman was a guy that was a plus 42 in 25 minutes off the bench. I mean, you love to see that. Um, Everyone who played scored. So that was just an awesome game. And then to come back the next night, I know LeBron and Luka weren't playing, but it is always good to beat the Lakers. I do not care who is suiting up for either team. It is amazing to beat the Lakers, and it is amazing to blow out the Lakers. And the Celtics did just that on Friday night. So they won a game by 45 points, and they beat the Lakers the following night back in front of the home crowd by 21 points. Jaylen Brown had a near 30-point triple double in 34 minutes. Jordan Walsh added 17 points, and then Derek White had 19 points. So that was just an all around good win there. And then 2 days ago on Sunday, the Celtics went north of the border to beat the Raptors, a team who has had a hot start to the season so far. This game wasn't as smooth sailing as the other ones, whereas the Celtics had a huge lead at the half, and then the Raptors came back to make it interesting. But the Celtics were able to nonetheless get the win. Typical Celtics win, as you know, I like to always say, Griffin, the Celtics bended, but they didn't break, and they did that in Toronto. Jaylen Brown played 39 minutes, had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Derek White, once again, 37 minutes. He had 27 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard at 15 and 6 as well. So yeah, I mean, it's great and really, really impressive that we keep racking up all these wins against teams that um, either we shouldn't be beating or teams that are also in the playoff picture right now. So the Celtics are doing what they need to do right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and talking about that, David, here is I still have this up, the Raptors with the Celtics. You see them kind of dip in that fourth quarter, and David, it almost was like you already mentioned, but it was almost like one of those typical Celtics games where we talked about last year not keeping their foot on the gas pedal and ultimately losing it, but still managed to get out a win out of that, David. But one thing that really has impressed me too, and I'm gonna continue to say this as long as I live this year, because I have
Well, we hope you live to see many more years, Griffin.
I mean, see, David, I keep saying the wrong things. What was it on Thanksgiving saying the turkey in distress? But listen, you're gonna have to go back and watch that episode because it's nothing like what I said. All right, this is what I meant to say, David. But I'm gonna continue to say this for the Celtics' sake. This year, no, like, it doesn't matter who we play against that players are out because I kept saying that too, alright, we could go as far to say that LeBron and Luka are out, but the Celtics have their number 1 player out, and we literally took the team, shook it up in a ball, and threw it out like some dice. Like, we are a complete different team this year, so if anyone tries giving the Celtics hate, "Hey, this didn't play, so and so didn't play," I'm on to you because we have a complete different team, and our number 1 player is not playing. So we have a clear advantage right there.
And that's the NBA. Like, I mean, people are going to be sitting out every single night. Like, that's just the modern NBA, and you only play the teams that are in front of you. Like, you can't possibly hate on the schedule. I don't get it because you play the teams that are in front of you. Like, if you play really hard and win a lot, yeah, the schedule's going to favor you in the playoffs because you're going to be playing the weakest teams left. I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder were the 1 seed, and they made it all the way to the finals, and they won it. The Celtics, when they won it, were the 1 seed. They were the best team in the NBA, and they played the least favorable teams remaining the whole way through, and they earned that through kicking butt in the regular season. That's how it works. You play the teams in front of you, you take advantage of the matchups in front of you, and the Celtics are doing that right now, and that is a sign of a very good basketball team.
Well said, David. Well said right there. But I want to ask you, and we've been talking about this slightly, but we haven't really dove into it because it's too early. The in-season tournament isn't even over. We're not at All-Star break. But I want to ask a question. What is the Celtics ceiling this year, David? Because I tell you again, it's so early, but for you to look at the season and say, wow, this was an over accomplishment, and what do you think the Celtics can be? Because again, I'm not gonna like I know we're praising the Celtics for being at the number 3 seed, but again, we're still early in the season for 1. For 2, this could change in a blink of an eye. But do you think the Celtics stealing is the 3 seed? Do you think they can maintain being up here, or do you just see them? I don't think they're gonna. I now, if you guys haven't, go check out the Instagram where Tommy says the Celtics should not tank because they should not. And one thing I wanna add on to that too is I don't think they'll ever get to that part, but I don't know how high they'll be. I think the team can continue to dominate, and we're gonna talk about this later in the program, but Jason Tatum is off to a heck of a recovery, David. Like, his recovery is incredible. So, who knows? Tatum could come back early. I mean, I won't lie, I had a lot of doubt in the Boston Celtics this offseason. Now, it was to a certain extent, though. I didn't think we were gonna be god awful, one of the worst teams in the NBA, but I didn't think we were gonna be the number 3 seed. But again, I've taken too much time up. What do you think the Celtics ceiling is?
It's an interesting question. It's I don't want to give a cop out answer here, but I honestly don't know because we just literally don't know if he's going to be back and when if he is going to be back when he's going to be back this season. If he comes back in like late March, April with 10, 15 games left, I mean, I don't know how much of the needle that can move other than maybe keeping the Celtics out of the play-in at that point. But if he comes back in February, like some people are theorizing, or even January, which I do not think January is in the cards, but let's just go with February. Then, yeah, there's maybe a quarter of the season left at that point. Maybe we can make a bigger push there. I think our ceiling, I'd be pleasantly surprised if we stick in the 3 seed. I think the Pistons and Knicks as of right now, and as they are right now, are better than us. I think the Raptors, Magic, Heat, a clump of those teams. Yeah, even throw the Sixers and Cavs in there. I think you know at least one of those teams is going to leapfrog us in the standings. But I think we're good enough to at least host a playoff series where we get the first two home games, or at least we can avoid the play-in. That's my ceiling personally. I think that the ceiling could get higher if number zero comes back at some point. I think maybe we could be looking at an Eastern Conference Finals run potentially if Jason Tatum can come back. But there's just so many question marks. I mean, I'm getting excited watching the way he's playing and watching the way he's performing in these videos. He's getting us all pumped up, but I don't know how he'll be when he gets back on the court. So I really don't know how high or how low our ceiling will be. But I think at a minimum, we can host a playoff series as our most like minimum highest ceiling, our highest ceiling possible with Tatum returning and not missing a beat, which is just, obviously best case scenario. I don't know how realistic that is, but if that is in the cards, I think we could be looking at an Eastern Conference Finals run.
Yeah, and we're welcomed in by Tommy Martinotti. And well said, David. And what we are talking about now, Tommy, as Tommy got his laptop to work. So let's go, Tommy. Still surviving.
No, I did.
We did it.
Oh, you did it?
Time, and I'm using hers now. So
oh no,
something's going on, but yeah, I'm here, so that's all that matters.
I was gonna say let's praise Tommy's laptop for surviving one more day, but
I think it's gotta go, man. It's just gotta go.
It's about that time, we all the MacBooks, Apple, come on, man. Still sponsor us though, we'd like that. I mean, but Tommy, as you joined the podcast, I want to say welcome in first of all, and we mentioned at first my predictions being right. You were leaning more towards 3-0. You're like, all right, let's beat.
Well, to be fair, I did not know Luka and LeBron were going to sit out, so that could have.
Yeah, see,
but it is what it is, man. We went 3-0.
We went 3-0, and that's the most important thing. But Tommy, the question I just asked to David too is, what do you think the Boston Celtics ceiling is going to be this season? Because I have to say, we're in the 3 seed, and again, way too early to talk about seeding because we're not even through the in-season tournament. We're at a point where we're kind of stumped. But what do you think the Celtics ceiling can be at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think with how weak the Eastern Conference is this year, the way they've been playing recently and kind of the rest of the way the Eastern Conference is kind of shaping out. And like you said, it is early, but I think they could be in that 3 to 4 seed come playoff time. I think if guys continue to grow in this offense, and we see guys like Walsh continue to get better, and get contributions from Mina and Hugo Gonzalez and Luka Garza, I think that the ceiling could be a 3 seed just because of how weak I think this Eastern Conference is. Besides Detroit and the Pistons, no one in the East really scares me, even if the Celtics don't have Tatum, if I'm being completely honest. The Magic have struggled. Franz Wagner just went down with an injury. The Raptors, they have some young pieces, but I don't think they're ready yet to make a deep run into the playoffs. I think the Knicks are going to be the Celtics' toughest opponent down the road just because of how they kind of match up against the Celtics with longer wings as well. But I think their ceiling could be, honestly, at this point, a 3 seed. Just because of, again, how weak the Eastern Conference is this year. And then, of course, you have the Western Conference that is just completely stacked. So I think our ceiling could be a 3 seed. I don't see us finishing with a better record than New York. But, if Tatum comes back, hopefully maybe in March or so, we'll see. I think, who knows what can happen in the playoffs, but the way this team has been playing, and I think the way they're trending upwards, I can see them kind of getting some ground here and getting comfortable in that 3, maybe 4 seed going forward. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference standings, and it's just no one sticks out to me. Like, I mean, if we have time, we can have a conversation and go down the list of teams in the Eastern Conference. But I don't know what you guys think. No one besides the Pistons and Knicks threaten, in my opinion, the Celtics, even if Tatum's not in the lineup.
Well, I think we can do that right now. You guys want to do it? Let's do it really quick. All right. Let's go through and see if the Celtics are a better team. And again, it's way too early to really hit down the head, but I think some of them we kind of tacked down. But let's start off. Wizards. Obviously, the Celtics are a better team. You guys agree all across the board?
I mean, we can just skip to like Milwaukee
Because
10 seed because those bottom few teams. I mean, you can just eliminate
I've
for
crossed
5 of them already.
I'll go Milwaukee. I'm gonna go yes because and we'll go through the board and say yes or no. But my reasoning for that is Giannis wanting out, Giannis undecisive on if he wants to even stay in Milwaukee. And you look at it, who they got? They got Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, and Giannis. It's like, yeah, they have some pieces, but I think the Celtics are a lot more established than them. So I'm going higher than Milwaukee. What about you, David?
Same exact reasons. I think we're a better team than Milwaukee. It's a dumpster fire over there right now. So I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, me too.
Tommy.
Milwaukee without Giannis right now with that calf strain, that's a scary injury to have because if he tries to get back a little quicker, we saw what happened to KD in the finals against Toronto. So calf injuries to me are kind of one of the scary injuries to have as a basketball player, just knowing where that Achilles tendon is and yeah, you guys already said it. The Bucks are kind of lost right now in direction of kind of where they're going in the next few years. So I think it's an easy yes.
Yeah, and then we have the Hawks in the 9th seed right now. I'm gonna go yes because the experiment with Porzingis is not working out a lot. It looks like, and I haven't really paid a lot of attention to the Hawks. I think they could go a lot higher up on this list, but as of right now, I think they're a team that could really turn it around at some point in the season. So I'm iffy about that one. I'm not gonna lie because I really like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Not sure how well he's been performing or anything, but I say yes slightly, but I'm still unsure on that one. That one I'm iffy about because that's a team that I don't see being a 9th seed when the season's said and over.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say we're better than the Hawks. The Hawks are just a funny team to me, where it feels like they're like ever since this play-in has been created by the NBA, they're like an honorary play-in team. It seems like every year. I mean, we haven't played a game against them this year. We'll see how that goes when we cross that bridge. But as of right now, I would take us over the Hawks definitely.
Yeah, me too. I think the Hawks do have some young potential with guys like Jalen Johnson and the rookie, or not the rookie, the first overall pick, Ricochet, I think his name is. Then they got Porzingis, and so I think the Hawks do have some solid young pieces, but I don't think in a 7-game playoff series that they could beat the Celtics. I think I can go to like 6 games and they can make it close, but I would take the Celtics over the Hawks.
Yeah, I think it's close though. I think I feel like depending how far into I'm still unsure on the Hawks. That's my thing. The Cavs, and I'm gonna let you guys answer this one first because I think I have a good take on this one. But David, what do you think?
I mean, we've beaten them twice already this season, and I mean, obviously, we had one impressive blowout victory at the Garden, and then we beat them narrowly a couple weeks ago now in Cleveland. I hate to say it, I do think that they're better than us at this point in time, even though we have beaten them twice, and it pains me to say that as a homerish Celtics fan. But I do think if push comes to shove and we're playing a series with them, that they would probably be favored. But I mean, it's just the biggest asterisk in the NBA right now is what is the status of number 0 going to be in a potential series of these two teams playing against each other. But even though we've beaten them twice, just the dark magic of playing the Cavs always scares the heck out of me, where it seems like they can't miss a shot against us whenever. So I would personally pick the Cavs to be slightly better than us, but it's a lot closer than people think. And the fact that we've already beaten them twice this year is nothing to slouch about. But I would just pick the Cavs by a hair.
Yeah, I would too. I think Cleveland in a 7-game series without Tatum in the lineup is just a better team, to be honest. They're the eighth seed right now in the East, but by the end of the season, I fully expect them to be, in the mix for the top 4 for sure. Once they kind of get healthy and get that rhythm of playing together once again, I think they'll be clicking on all cylinders and be one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So I think David said it pretty perfectly. Without Tatum being, we're not sure. He's still a question mark, obviously, for later in the season. I would give the edge to Cleveland over Boston in the 7-game series.
Yeah, I think Cleveland has a slight edge too because I think their team is just not established yet. Like they've been battling with a lot of injuries, haven't really had time to get the chemistry going down. And again, this is a team who has had Darius Garland and stuff. So it's not one where it's like, oh, we have new pieces. It's a team that looks very similar to last year. But I think once, you get the ball rolling, once everyone's back and kind of getting to the rhythm, I think they slightly have the Celtics edge. But again, JT comes back, I think it's a complete different story. But 76ers, I'm going the Celtics are better than them slightly. I think the Sixers are a team that I was very shocked on this year, but I think the Celtics have a slight edge.
I would agree with that. I mean, we played them twice so far this year. We lost them by one on opening day. We had a pretty big lead in that game, but they came back and won. Obviously, Edgecombe had an incredible debut, and then we beat them by one or two in that first play-in tournament, NBA play-in game. I'm sorry, NBA Cup qualifying game. So, I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, that's the biggest question mark too. Of course, is just the availability of Joel Embiid. I mean, he's only played in 9 games this season. I think the NBA is better when he's on the court, but obviously the last few seasons, unfortunately, he's proven he can't stay on the court. So obviously, if their best franchise player is not part of the picture, which happens a lot, unfortunately for them, it affects things. But I would say at this point in time, even without Tatum, yeah, I'd say the Celtics are better than the Sixers.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty unfortunate for Philly fans because I think Tyrese Maxey is maybe one of the most underrated offensive players in our league, or in the league. I'm not going to say we because I'm nowhere near in the league, but yeah, without Embiid out there, he's nowhere near the MVP Embiid we saw a few years ago. They have some good young pieces, but there's so many question marks surrounding Philly as well. So I'm going to lean towards the Celtics. If they were to play a 7-game series with or without Tatum, I think the Celtics have the edge against Philly.
Yeah, next on our list is the Miami Heat, and I'm gonna straight up say Celtics have it. I think the Miami Heat have started off to a good run, but I see the Celtics being better at the end of the day. I think they're still figuring out what they have to, and again, like Tommy mentioned, this East is wide open because there's a lot of teams that aren't established. A lot of the talent is over in the Western Conference. I hate to say it, but it's so true. So I'm going Celtics have it over the Heat.
Yeah, I would pick the Celtics as well. I think maybe it's closer than people think, but I think if it were to come down to a playoff series between the Celtics and Heat, the Celtics can maybe get the job done in 6. The shooting of the Heat scares me with guys like Hero and Norm Powell, but I do, and I mean, obviously, you got to respect Bam Adebayo. I mean, I don't know how he would do in a matchup against Kada. We'll see how that pans out. We'll get previews of that potentially this regular season, but I would still pick the Celtics over the Heat, but I do think it's closer than people think.
I think it's close too. I feel like every time we match up with the Heat in the playoffs, it seems like it's an extremely close series. I think Eric Spoelstra has been one of the best coaches in the NBA for a while now. I just think they're missing guard play. The point guard position is just in the air, and come playoff time, especially in a 7-game series, you kind of need that playmaker to create shots for your offense, and I think that's something the Heat lack. Tyler Heroes a solid player, but I don't think in a 7-game playoff series he's going to be able to carry the load offensively to beat a solid team like the Celtics. So I'll take the Celtics against the Heat as well.
Next, we have the Orlando Magic, and I'm going to say the Orlando Magic do have the edge over the Boston Celtics. I, for one, picked the Magic to be the number 1 seed this year, and I know that sounds like a crazy take now because look what they're doing, but I really think with Desmond Bane, like once he really gets acclimated to the team and gets used to and adjusted to it, I really still think the Magic still have some potential. And you mentioned, Tommy, the injury over there with Wagner, but I think the Magic are still a young team that can really prove something. So I think it's a lot closer now with the injury, but I'm still going Celtics.
The Magic.
I'm going Magic. Sorry, not Celtics.
I'm the same way. I think the Magic would have the edge against us in the playoff series. I would say they would win against us 7 right now if we're talking this point in time. I think if we can get Tatum back, depending on how Tatum is, maybe that flips to us winning by a 7-game set, 4 games to 3. But yeah, I'm still, like you said, Griffin, willing to give it time with the Magic to let this whole season flow out. I mean, we're only a quarter, like right around a quarter of the way through the season, 24, 25 games. I mean, obviously the early returns aren't great, but I love the move in the offseason they made for Bane. So pairing that with, I mean, if they can stay healthy, which obviously that was their kryptonite last year in terms of not being able to take a step forward in the development of the organization as much as they would have liked, is obviously their players being injury prone. But if they can stay healthy, I would be scared of them in a series and would probably, at this point in time, give them a slight edge over the Celtics.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I do think the Magic have a solid team. Thankfully, Franz Wagner, I just actually looked it up because I didn't know what happened with that injury. I saw it happen in MSG, but I guess it's a high ankle sprain, so he'll only be out, a month or so. So it's nothing that serious. But I think the Celtics, maybe it's some bias, but I would give the Celtics the edge against that one because I think the Magic are still a little bit young, and I still question their shooting ability across a 7-game playoff series. I think defensively they're one of the toughest teams in the NBA. So I think, we'd see a lot of low-scoring battles between these two. But, I mean, it could go either way, but I'm just going to give it to Boston. But, yeah, I like Orlando's squad, and I kind of question their depth off the bench, to be honest. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and next we have the Raptors. And I'm going to say this one, and I'm going to just say it quick. I think the Celtics got this one. I don't really have a lot of explanation behind it because I think, the Raptors have been off to a great start, and they've been 5-5 now. They've had some loss, but they were on a big win streak, and I just see the Celtics being a better team this year. So I have Celtics over the Raptors. I feel like, the Raptors, again, they have young pieces. They brought in Brandon Ingram, and he's been a good piece thus far, but I just see the Celtics having a slight edge over the Raptors too.
Maybe a very slight edge. I mean, we always do seem to play the Raptors well, and obviously we played them well this most recent game on Sunday. But I mean, the scoring of Ingram and Barnes scares me. The playmaking, if he's able to get healthy again, of RJ Barrett is obviously scary to me as well. And then a guy like Podol has always been, not the flashiest name at the center position, but he's always been a respectable guy at the 5, whether it be for the Spurs or the Raptors now. I would say Celtics by a hair in this one as well, but I personally think this one is also very close.
Yeah, I agree. It's close, but I'll give the Celtics the edge just because I think we have a little more depth coming off the bench with Simons, and at this point, I was going to say Walsh, but he's now a starter. Just with Simon's scoring ability and his ability to kind of come in and impact games compared to what the Raptors have is just a higher level for the Celtics, but it's hard to say. The Raptors are a tough one, but I'll give this a slight edge to Boston too.
And now going to the second and first seed, are we safe to say that? And I think we're all in agreement that the Knicks and Pistons have the edge over the Celtics. Do you guys agree on that one?
I do.
I think we're all in agreement on that one, because one thing I do want to say is we just all said that, and right there, that falls the Celtics for Tommy, the 3 seed, for 3 or potentially 4 seed all around. But like, again, 3, 4, or 5 seeds. So the Celtics are, at the end of the day, we believe here at Celtics Nation Rise that they're going to be a top tier seed. Like, they're not going to be a slouch team anymore that we were thinking they were going to be. They have things going. Jaylen Brown is off to a great start, and that's where we bring our next topic. Jaylen Brown was just named Player of the Week for the Eastern Conference Finals. He had a 42-point game against the Knicks, had 34 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 5.7 assists per games. Knew David was
It
going
all
to do.
comes back to 6-7.
And is the best version of JB, is this the best version of JB in his career? Can we answer that question, because he's been phenomenal and it's been so fun to watch him. And this is a player that I'm sitting on, either on the couch or the bed watching JB, and I'm jumping up and down because it's been a lot of fun this year. Because again, this has been a year where we didn't know what the Celtics were going to be like, and JB has been the reason, not the reason, it's been guys stepping up as well, but been a huge reason for the Celtics taking over this 3 seed. And again, I mention this all the time now. I think this is my one take that I said was a good take, and I kept rolling with it. This is JB, and I am so excited to see JB play with Tatum and this new version of Jaylen Brown to play with Tatum once Tatum comes back. But is this the best version of JB that we've seen in his career?
I think if he can keep this up, absolutely. And I would be willing to argue, even though we haven't even been in season for 2 months, that this could be. I just remember the MVP season for him in the finals and Eastern Conference Finals, where it felt like, obviously heading into that season, there was a ton of pressure. He had to prove himself, to prove that he's worth that extension. And I mean, I think all 3 of us in this room thought that right away. I mean, obviously we have a bias towards the Celtics, but I mean, he more than proved it that first season. And it felt like from January of 24 all the way through middle of June, he was incredible. And I think like this version is just honestly taken like the best versions of him in the past and just combined into one true player. Like his first season in the Missoula Ball era in 2022, 2023, Jaylen Brown had a career high in points per game at 26. I think the best version we've ever seen of Brown playing defense was guarding Luka in that finals. I mean, he had him locked up, and like I've had nothing but great things to say about his defense since that point on. And then last season, I know it was a rough season for JB with injuries, but I really appreciated the step forward that both him and Tatum took in their playmaking, where I think Jaylen Brown's average assists per games last season was up like +1 compared to the championship winning season. So we're literally getting all of that right now. The exceptional defense, the scoring at a great clip, like his accuracy and his shot making accuracy is back and better than ever. And then the playmaking, the scoring, the efficiency, that's the word I was looking for, the efficiency. It's all coming into fruition now. So if he can keep this up through the All-Star break, like absolutely, I think this is the best version of Jaylen Brown, and I'm ready to argue this right now. But yeah, I'll give everyone an answer. I'm sick of going around the bush. Yes, this is the best version of Jaylen Brown that we've seen in his career.
Yeah, I think it's an easy yes for me. The thing that I noticed about Brown the most this year is how it seems like he's kind of controlling where he wants to get to on the court. It seems like every time he gets into that mid-range area, he takes advantages of mismatches that he gets with smaller guards, and then he gets to where he wants to go onto the court. He's been extremely efficient. He's shooting basically 50% from the field this year. And I don't have the number with me right now, but I guarantee if we just look kind of at his numbers in the mid-range or in the mid low 60s, that's what it feels like. I know when you watch the games. So just seeing him take advantage of those mismatches. Obviously, he's gotten a lot stronger since he's been drafted, and his just all around game has taken a huge jump forward this season. And he's been able to do that because obviously the Tatum injury, it forces Brown now to take more shots than he ever has before, and he's playing the most efficient basketball he ever has as well. So it's an easy. This is the best version of Jaylen Brown I've seen so far, and I think if he plays at this level throughout the entire season, he should be on an All NBA team, no doubt.
Well said. I love that. I think all NBA team, like first team too, not even like I think he's been incredible. And I think even if he keeps it up, I think he should really jump up on MVP leaderboard as well. Like I don't know where he is as of right now, but I remember last time we saw he was on 10, but I feel like he could have jumped higher now, but he's been phenomenal. And this Jaylen Brown that I'm seeing, and it's not only his play on the court, it's off the court as well. Like him doing these pop ups, getting Celtics fans the opportunity to meet him and show him that he is a true Boston guy. And he has the whole Celtics fan base on his back now because, and I was talking about this with Quinny every time he's on the podcast because Quinny went to two of the meet and greets with him, and we just it's the fact that he's doing a lot for the community, and we've had so countless people come on the fan series over the summer and talk about their experience with Jaylen Brown and how much he loves the city and how meaningful and how passionate he is. And now doing his Twitch streaming, which I swear we get a lot of laughs out of that. He's quite the comedian too. So maybe when he's done with basketball, which won't be for a long, long time because he's sticking with the Celtics and he's kicking butt with the Celtics. Like he is doing incredible, but maybe we'll see a funny Twitch streamer after too, and a rapper, and a boxer, and maybe even a swimmer. I mean, he's a man of so many talents, and a scientist. Jeez, what else does he do? Bill
Good.
Nye, science guy. He's a scientist with Bill Nye. He's a great swimmer, and I wanted to mention this last time. Held his breath underwater for 5 minutes, and we talked about this all summer. How he does the water workouts and all of that. I mean, he is such this guy, I think from even his basketball standpoint, he's one of the most talented and smart guys on this planet. He is a true athlete, and he should be a great example for people in the NBA of what to do, how to start your own brand, and how to balance your life out with also being a great NBA player. I mean, he's been phenomenal. But do you guys have any other takes on that before we move into the next topic?
JB for president in 2048. Let's make it happen.
Agreed. You said it perfectly, Griffin.
Let's make it happen. JB for president. I was saying that a while ago. I want JB in there. I was saying Al Horford at first because he was a little closer, but let's go JB.
JB Horford duo. JB president, Al Horford vice president. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. They got my vote. I tell you what, they got my vote. But with that being said, you guys, we're heading over to the main report now because I gotta tell you guys, I went to a Maine Celtics game finally. I went from going to 20 Maine Celtics games last year down to one, and the season's been going on for a while. I'm disappointed in myself. I gotta keep it going, but I tell you what, the Maine Celtics have been off to a hot start. They lost two at the beginning of the season. We were talking about this, but now they're on an 8-game win streak, and I have to say, it's been fun watching them at the Expo. I mean, when I was there, Ron Harper Jr., I want to talk about him first, and we got a picture of him really quick right here. He was phenomenal. He won Player of the Week in the G League and is leading the G League. I don't think anymore. I'm not sure, but led the G League in points. He's been phenomenal. Had 34 or 33, I think, when I went. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that back up, but he is showing to be a great piece. And I have a scouting report for you guys. Amari Williams is his name because he had a good game when I went, but that next game that I watched on TV, he was phenomenal. He had a triple double, and this could really be a guy who is next up for the Celtics. And I want to mention another name, and I'm gonna flash this one up from the practice we attended, but Keon Johnson is another guy who in his debut had 16 points off the bench, and this is a guy who I think instantly can make an impact at the NBA level again. So I wanted to ask you guys a question, and I'm kind of coming up with this one. Would you waive Chris Boucher because he hasn't DMP after DMP? Maybe give the call, like maybe sign Amari or Keon to a standard deal, and then the other one continue on a two-way contract. What are your guys' thoughts? I just put that in my head. I think, trusting a younger guy in Keon Johnson or Amari Williams to have the call up at the NBA level. David, you don't look like you like this one. What are your thoughts?
I don't know how that would. Well, I don't know if I feel like the Celtics have proven themselves to be an organization that is very patient,
Yeah.
and that was very evident on a grand scheme of things with how our championship run was constructed, where we were very patient with turning down many trades over the years for guys like Jimmy Butler, Paul George, other big names. Obviously, we made some bigger moves in later years when we shifted to a new regime from Danny Ainge to Brad Stevens, and then Brad Stevens went sicko mode on the trade market with rebuilding and retooling rather this organization and got us over the hump. But one thing that the Celtics have been very patient with, at least in my time with watching them, is just player development.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ironic for me to say that because I've been very pro, and I'm happy to say I've been wrong on this. I've been very pro Hugo Gonzalez being in Maine. I've been in that camp, but clearly I'm wrong with that, at least so far. But my point in saying all this is I just think that we should keep. I mean, Keon Johnson, yes, that could be an interesting one where like with Boucher. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, obviously he's upset. Like, he's being a great teammate about it, but I mean, I think honestly it should get to a point where the Celtics are either committing to giving Boucher more minutes or waiving him and letting him sign with another contender. Like, let's just be respectful about the situation. But if a spot opens up, yeah, I mean, maybe they'll give that to Keon Johnson. I mean, Keon Johnson literally played and averaged 24 minutes a game last year for Brooklyn at the big level in the NBA. So, I mean, the play probably is to do that. Amari Williams is very tempting. Like, I just watched, as you said, Griffin, the highlights of that triple-double he had. And, I mean, it's great when your bigs are not only getting a double-double, but also can do playmaking. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I don't want to get too hyped about this guy, but I hope that he can turn out to be a steal down the line. But yeah, I mean, I'm coming around on it a little bit on what you're suggesting here, Griffin, the more I'm talking about it, where maybe we can cut Boucher and that opens up an opportunity for Keon Johnson. But at the end of the day, I think whoever takes Chris Boucher's spot in this roster is probably not going to be someone that moves the needle or is going to be getting the minutes in that spot. But, maybe that's something that they explore.
Yeah. What about you, though, Tommy?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of kind of bringing up Keon Johnson and letting a guy like maybe Baylor Shireman go. Keon Johnson is younger, and I feel like we kind of already know what we're going to get out of Shireman, and we've already had this talk about, what is his ceiling, what more is he going to provide? He's already 25 and all this other stuff. So maybe if it was for Boucher or Shireman, you kind of bring Keon Johnson up to be a part of this Boston Celtics. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like David said, I don't think it moves the needle at all in making the Celtics better. Will he be seeing a lot of time on the court? Probably not. But I think he's not going to last long in the G League because he's there to prove himself. And, with that prior NBA experience already, I think, if it's not the Celtics, other teams will be looking to get him on a two-way or bring him up, to the NBA full-time. So we'll see. And with Amari Williams, I think it's best to stay patient with him. He's still, a rookie, but he looks, phenomenal in Maine. He's got tremendous size, rebounding ability, lob threat ability around the rim. And we saw his playmaking in that triple-double game come into a full effect with those full court bounce passes. But there's no reason to rush him up right now. I think you give him at least this year to kind of develop up in Maine, and then kind of see what the center position's looking like next year and where his development is going, and then kind of make a call on Amari Williams then. So that's kind of where I'm at with those few guys. And Ron Harper Jr. is straight balling, by the way. Watching him, he is playing with a whole nother level of confidence. So I definitely got to go to the Expo soon and see him play in real time.
Yeah, let's all hit a game up. We gotta go see. And if you haven't, go to the CNR page right now. You guys are on here. Scroll down and watch the whole interview with Ron Harper Jr. because he's been incredible. And I agree. I want to say on this take, I think, having Keon Johnson come up, I like that move personally because I think this is an NBA ready guy. And again, you mentioned he's young. He's talented. He can shoot the lights out. And I think this guy I would love to have come off the bench. I mean, I really like him as a shooter, a 3 shooter off the bench because he was incredible. And I actually got to record his first shot at the Maine Celtics. So I'm going to pull this up. And it was just incredible watching him play. And, winter showcase is coming up. And this is a guy who I see a team snatching him up immediately, and we'll get into this in a minute, but Brad Stevens and Bill Chisholm both at the game, and they saw him perform incredibly, coming off the bench, 16 points. But let's watch Keon Johnson's first 3 with the Maine Celtics. So, I mean, right there, again, he was a incredible shooter and, didn't have as great of a second game, but it still shows how he can move the ball and he sticks out. He's an NBA ready guy, and it was incredible for the Maine Celtics to get him. And he even mentioned in the press conference after his first game being like, hey, like, I, haven't played for a while, so just being able to get my feet ready, da 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 da. So I like him. But I have some more clips too. So this next one, as Tommy mentioned, Ron Harper Jr. Just I got some clips, and the rest I'm saving for you guys. I got a couple here because we already just posted a vlog yesterday. So go check that out on the CNR page as well on our YouTube channel because we have a bunch of clips, gave you a lot of clips from the game, but let's show some more. Here's Ron Harper Jr. though. And then I got a couple more, David. I got Cameron Warrens, who again last year was a great piece, and now this year again is such a great piece as well. But here's a dunk by Warrens. And it was actually funny talking about that. His mom was sitting next to us. She was in attendance, so she was a big fan of him. So it was fun to see that. But lastly, Amari Williams. And here are some of the skills that we were talking about. And I want your guys' opinion. Let's give us a breakdown after this play. But because I really like this play, and I picked this one on purpose. But let's watch this one really quick. I love that play right there because I think his last name's Williams, but he's a big guy. And I took a picture of Amari there, and you could see his size is incredible. And I think that's a big thing. He's strong, he's tall, and he's a guy that could really force himself into the paint and get buckets like that. But I don't know. That play just really stood out to me, the way he could back down into the paint and get an easy bucket like that. But what are your guys' thoughts from that play? And I can play it again if you guys want after, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that was all around great play. Got posted up and then had the tough finish over him, floating it over, not even relying on the backboard. So nice little shot from him. I hope to see that in the future.
I like the little between the legs, tween into the back down, and then the little spin hook shot there. Good touch around the rim, and it's It's kind of what you want to see from a guy with his stature is kind of dominate at that level and kind of see what he can provide to Boston in years to come.
Yeah. And then my last thing I want to talk about is, again, I mentioned it, Brad Stevens and Bill Chisholm both being in attendance. So I want to ask you guys a question. And I've yet to ask a player this, and I think this would be an interesting question is how much pressure do you think is applied on them when you have such talent, like such knowledgeable and mainly the guys that you're working to play for up with the Celtics? How much pressure does that add when they're sitting courtside, do you think?
I don't think it adds any pressure because I feel like these guys already expect a lot out of themselves going into every game. So I don't think it puts a lot of added pressure on the players in the moment while they're in the game. But I mean, I'm sure they recognize that, Brad Stevens and Chisholm are in the stands. So, maybe the little effort plays, they go after a few more loose balls or they're crashing the glass a little bit harder than normal. But I think, they're in the G League for a reason. They're trying to prove themselves. So I think they put enough pressure on themselves to play at a certain level. And I don't think they, need Brad Stevens to be in the building for them to, play any harder.
Yeah. What about you, David?
No, I 100% agree with what Tommy said. Maybe they view two of the NBA execs being in the building as a chance not only to show something to them, but maybe show something to them that they can try and pitch to another roster. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think that probably Phil Pressey is definitely just instilling the mentality for them to always play hard, regardless of who's in the building. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's in the back of their head, but I'm sure they're gonna stay business as usual, regardless of who's in the building.
Yeah, and I think even with Phil Pressey, like he's a guy who's up in the Celtics organization as well. I think he's the guy who also reports up to them as well. But it helps for them seeing them play in person and going there to the expo. So I think pressure, like if any pressure is at all, it's on a day-to-day basis because you still have a guy reporting up to them. And like every game, like they get the stats and everything. So it's not like I think it's just a different perspective. It's them just coming to see it in person, It's not like I don't think personally like they're gonna like have too much pressure on them from because they could just see, all right, they shot poorly that night. All right, we don't want them. But maybe a lot of it too. I don't know. Maybe they like Keon Johnson. Maybe they liked that. I have no clue why they were there. And they come to games. When I was there last year, Brad Stevens was at quite a few games, and I think Joe Mazzulla even at one or two. But I don't know. What were you saying, David?
It's just like common due diligence for like GMs to just check on like the minor league
Yeah.
affiliates. I even think Sam Hauser was at a game last year, if I remember
His
correctly.
brother was there, Joey Hauser.
That's right. And I remember Hauser, I think, going there with his wife and I think his infant child. And yeah, it's just common practice to check up on how the teams are doing. Like the Red Sox GMs always make the trip down to like Worcester, Portland, and at least once a month. So
Yeah.
I think that's just pretty much what it is.
Yeah, but any final thoughts on that? All right, you guys, we're switching back to the CNR talk. Time to talk about Jason Tatum because here's a picture that David sent me too. And David, if you wanted to explain this for everyone at home really quick, because this is interesting.
Yeah, so I saw this be posted on. I actually didn't see him post this on his story. I saw it on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and it's just a photo of Tatum dapping up his trainer with the caption "Soon." Now, so many people are ready to run through a brick wall seeing that. I mean, obviously, the only thing on Tatum's mind right now is just how the heck can he speed up this process, but do it safely to get back on a court. But I mean, stuff like this, like you combine the fact that the Celtics have won 10 of their last 12 with the fact that Tatum is posting things like this and also, rehab clips as well. I mean, that's enough to make anyone who roots for the Celtics run through a brick wall. So he's just fueling the fire with stuff like this, but it makes you wonder, is his return sooner than we think?
Yeah, and before we get into it, because I have something interesting to show you guys. It's gonna be a minute long, so brace yourself, but I have a video of a clip, and this is via Jason Tatum's Instagram story. So let's pull it up. Let's watch what he's doing rehabbing. And as you could see right now, like, I mean, he's just I don't know. He looks NBA ready right now. I just like if you told me that right now, I don't know. I don't know. I'm watching this right now and it looks like he's about to play the next day, but we'll talk about it after the video, but
I feel like from a fan's perspective, this looks like he's going 100%, but in his mind and the trainer's mind and the team's mind, this is Tatum going, 50% through a drill. And don't get me wrong, it's great to see this. It's great to see him doing these cuts and looking like he's, playing against a live defender, but that is nowhere near simulating the pace and the speed of an NBA game. So he still has a long way to go, but it's very encouraging to see him kind of on the court, making basketball moves and getting shots up and playing against a live defender. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself in my head because we don't want Tatum to rush through this process and then something catastrophic happens and it's worst case scenario. But Tatum knows what he's doing. He's fueling the fire and getting the fans excited for his eventual return.
yeah. What about you, David?
Yeah, it's just great to see. I love watching these clips. It's a nice little Christmas is coming up, but clips like this feel like an Easter egg. I feel like that's the appropriate term for that. It's just like a little teaser for what's to come. Yeah, I mean, the fact that obviously he's not cleared for contact is obviously still the elephant in the room, and that's something that needs to happen for him to be able to get on the court. And once he's clear to do that, that'll give us a better timeline of when we can expect JT to come back. But yeah, I mean, I just love seeing him working out on the court. I don't even care that he missed the jumper in that last clip. I just love seeing him practicing again. It's just great to see, and it's got to be great for him too. Like I was pleasantly surprised that he was, he's been with the team pretty much for every single game, home or the road this season. Like a lot of these players, when they get injured, not faulting them at all, but they just take time from away from the team to rehab, and then they come back to the team when they're ready. But he's doing everything he can, he possibly can to get back on the court, and I love that for him, and I just know that he needs this right now, and like this is just helping him so much. So I'm just happy about that.
Yeah, I agree. And I also want to mention like this is my thought on Tatum, and my thought has not changed whatsoever. And you guys might not like this one. I still do not think Jason Tatum should come back till next year. I really don't. And I was having this discussion with my older brother because he is very strongly on if Tatum's ready, let him play this year. But I think, I know, and Tommy, you might take this from being a college basketball player too. Once you're injured, you're just dying to get back. You're clawing, you're scratching, you're doing anything you can in your capability, especially for Jason Tatum, not wanting to let the fans down. He's going to do anything in his capability. I do agree if they clear him completely and they're like, all right, you're completely fine. Like there's not going to be anything wrong with you. Come back. I'm fine with that. All right, let him come back this season. But if it's like, all right, you can come back, but we we're not sure. I think it's strongly that you give him a whole off season two to really prepare for playing the following season. But Tommy, what do you think
Yeah.
after?
Well, I mean, yeah, there can't be any doubt on if well, he shouldn't come back. It's either he's ready or he's not. It's that simple. And for those serious injuries like a torn ACL, a torn Achilles, I feel like the biggest hurdle for athletes to kind of come back is not even the physical part, but the mental part, kind of trusting your body again to do all the same movements that they could do before. So I think the hardest part for players coming back from serious injuries is just getting over that mental hurdle. I feel like Gordon Hayward is a great example of that, where he kind of came back and it seemed like he fully didn't, that's a life-changing injury that Gordon Hayward had, but you can kind of just see the way he played. He didn't have the same trust in his body that he did pre that injury. So I feel like the toughest hurdle for Tatum is just going to be getting through that mental hurdle of trusting that Achilles is at full strength when he's playing, in 30 minutes a game at an NBA level, going up and down the court. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Tommy, you just unlocked a new fear in me. I'm not gonna lie with Tatum. I'm not gonna lie, you unlocked a new fear in me with that one, because it's true though. I mean, you have to have trust in it. Like, you need to play. Like, realistically, he needs to rehab until the point where it's like nothing even happened. Because
Yeah, and it comes to a point where it's like it's gonna take more than rehab. It's gonna take him
yes,
playing in game after game after game to trust that he can be back to what he was and even more. So, it's going to take time. He's not going to come back in a week and be the same Jason Tatum that we saw in the playoffs, or the same that we've seen for the past few years. But, I have full trust, and I think he's going to make a comeback, and he's going to be a better player than he ever has been. So,
yeah. What about you, though, David?
I'm of the camp that, I mean, Wick Grousbeck said it right before the season started, that the expectation is Tatum will be out for the whole season, but if he is cleared, they will partner with Tatum himself and the doctors and the organization as a whole to determine what to do here. I do think that there's absolutely no way this season that we do not see Tatum play at least one. Let me rephrase that. Tatum will find his way onto the basketball court this season. I'm locking that in. I don't care if it's in April with 5 games left. Some people are saying as early as January, which I do not think is anywhere close to happening. I'm thinking that March, April range personally. And honestly, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if he were to get on the court and play 15 minutes a game for the last 10 games of the season, just to maybe work through some of those mental hurdles before coming back the next season on opening day 2026 and on the ground running for an 82 game slate, slotting right back into the starting lineup and expected to play like 30-35 minutes right off the bat and a long championship run. And I'm pretty sure I've been vocal about this and saying that we can't just expect Tatum to come back and be, like you just said, Tommy, the same Tatum that he was the last few years. Like, we literally do not know how he is going to be, if he will never be the same with this injury happening. It'll be interesting to see how his game evolves. I mean, the prototypical way to come back from an injury like this was the Kevin Durant situation, where he's lost his ability. He doesn't drive as much, but he's become a way better shooter and way better at his mid-range game, and the playmaking is still there. His defense is still respectable. That's probably the route I'm assuming Tatum will go. I mean, we don't know, though. I mean, it's interesting that he was 4 or 5 years younger than KD when he sustained this injury. So I don't know, but I do think in some way, shape, or form, Tatum is going to do whatever he can do to get back on the court. And we're going to see him on the court, whether it be for 10 or 15 games. Maybe he comes off the bench. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he's telling people in the organization, all the reports are saying he's telling people in the organization, I'm going to be playing at some point this season. Obviously, his mentor, Kobe Bryant, was someone who, at the age of 35, sustained an Achilles injury in April of 2013. And he came back in December of 2013 and was.
Did you really?
Yeah, he was 8 years older than Tatum when Tatum.
Well, yeah, but he came back in December.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
240 days after sustaining an Achilles injury. So
that is unreal.
I know Tatum definitely if he can emulate that, that'd be great. But that's something in the back of his mind is just having that mama mentality and doing whatever he can to get back in the court as soon as possible, like his idol. So yes, I would be very shocked if Tatum does not at least play one game this season. I think that's going to happen. I don't care where the Celtics are in the standings. I don't care if they crash and burn after we do this podcast and, they're in 15th and in the lottery. Tatum's going to look to get on the court one way or another. And that's just the guy he is. That hasn't changed at all. I know that much.
Yeah, and I want to add on to this, and Tommy's going to like this take because he knows the guy who said this take, but Coach AJ was on here for the draft special, and we were talking about the Jason Tatum injury, and I like what he said. I feel like even if it's a fact of Tatum coming back in playoff time, if we make the playoffs, and just being a fear factor on the bench, like just look like, like he wouldn't be shocked if he was like, all right, like what if we have Tatum suit up, maybe not play him, but just be on the bench for a fear factor. But I also don't want to count out too this, as we've seen Ben Simmons, like we've seen main Celtics players practice, like even with Porzingis last year. But I think even Jason Tatum could even maybe get some experience in the G League. I mean, we've seen.
Hey, we're going to that game if we see Tatum.
That would be crazy, but I would love that.
I feel like it would be a away game. Why do I feel like it would be a away game?
No, he would do that at home for sure.
You think he'd do it at the Expo? They're. I tell you,
that's a good point. I think that that would be actually awesome.
Let's switch back to this really quick because I have some questions. Tatum playing in the main Celtics. Do you think they would just do it at the Garden?
That's not gonna. I'm sorry. I have to burst the bubble here. He's not playing a game with them. He will practice with the main Celtics, but no.
Okay. David brought us back to reality.
Let's be honest though.
Like, LeBron just practiced with. I'm sorry.
But the injury though. The injury. This is a serious topic. I think
it's not like baseball. Like I get your thinking with that, but it's not like baseball where you do rehab assignments. But I can absolutely see if we get that tweet, we'll be the first to market with this. If we get that tweet from the Celtics saying we have assigned Jason Tatum to the main Celtics, we're
gonna come back to this episode 78 and clip from 104 to 107, and we'll play it back.
Xavier Tillman will go down and practice with them.
Well, I have to say, if there was a game though, it would totally. You think it would be played at the Expo or the TD Garden?
Well, it would have to be played at the Expo.
Yeah, because half the games. But think about it. If it's an off day for the Celtics, you think they'd play at TD Garden?
No.
Because think about it.
You can't just change the schedule that's been preset for months.
All right, but how many people are going to want to come to that? All right, I'm telling you, you guys.
It'll sell out in Maine. If it were to happen, hypothetically, that game would sell out. And
the traffic's going to be all the way down to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, if that game happens.
I tell you what, we're attending that game. But David, bring us back to reality really quick because I'm too much in the high of Jason Tatum playing.
If that game happens, I'll do whatever the top comment says on this video. But that is absolutely Tatum is not playing for the main Celtics. That ship sailed in 2017.
All right, let's go back to reality though, as David brought us back. Tommy and I were hyped for a second, I do have to say. But the road ahead, you guys. This is a beautiful topic because last time they went 3-0. I mean, it brings a lot of remembrance back. This is very nostalgic for me, the 3-0, because I think the last time I said 3-0 was the beginning of last season when we started this podcast, because I was like, every time we do it, I was like, this team's so good, 4-0, 4-0, 4-0. Like, but a 3-0, and I'm feeling good, you guys. But the Boston Celtics do face the Milwaukee Bucks this Thursday, and then they play the Detroit Pistons on Monday. And this all being add-in games, as David has mentioned, for the in-season tournament. But what are your guys' thoughts on the road ahead, and what are the Boston Celtics next time we come on for the weekly podcast? Because 2 games, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to say we go 1-1. I think we beat the Bucks Thursday night. Even though it's always been kind of tricky for us to beat the Bucks in Milwaukee, we've had our troubles with that over the year. I think we can get the job done. Against the Pistons, I think that this could be another close game like the one on Thanksgiving Eve was, but I do think the Pistons are going to be able to correct what they did against us. I think it's just very hard for us to beat the Pistons twice. So unfortunately, I'm going to have the Celtics losing that game. But I'm going to say we're going to have an even split here of 1 win and 1 loss.
I'm going 2-0. I think without Giannis, the Bucks are obviously a different team. If Giannis was playing, I think the Celtics don't have anybody that matches up with Giannis. So I think Giannis could have had a big night. Obviously, he's going to be out for the next few weeks. So I'm going to take the Celtics in a 15-point win against Milwaukee, and then I think it'll be another nail biter against Detroit. Celtics at home once again, and I don't know. I have a feeling that Peyton Pritchard will have a 35-point game, a huge fourth quarter, and the Celtics pull out a nail biter by like 3 or less. But I'm going 2-0. Come on, let's keep the win streak going.
I love that, Tommy. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Peyton Pritchard, too. I have to say. Pritchard or Brown, but I feel like it more so a fourth quarter.
Pritchard's due for Pritchard always has that game or quarter where he just goes to another level. So I sense one coming from Pritchard.
Tommy, I love that you're saying that because I'm so happy you went 2-0 because I'm gonna have to go 1-1 as much as it kills me too, and I hate doing that after I was right with a 3-0 stretch too. I keep bloating about that one. I am so hyped up. I got that one right, but I have to. I hate it. Kills me to go 1-1, but I just think the Detroit one. We love beating win streaks and like doing that, and if it were anyone, it's the number 1 Pistons, and I'm happy we did that. But I see them coming to get us this time. But again, I really, as much as I say this, I really hope Tommy's right with this. I really hope David and I are losers and are really just have our foot in the mud right now, because I hope Tommy's right, and I hope we're in here with a 7-game win streak. That'd be pretty nice. But you guys have any final thoughts though before we close out?
Just keep riding this high wave. I mean, more bumps are expected in the road this season for the Celtics, so I'm just enjoying this as much as we can. But just keep it pushing and take advantage of this rest. I mean, we only have 2 games between now and the next time we talk, so rest up and just get 2 wins on the board. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, I just think this is the most exciting point we've been with this team. Obviously, a little bit of a rough start for the Celtics this year, but I kind of expected them to kind of turn this corner at some point just because of the talent they still have on this roster, and we've kind of talked about that in past podcasts and recaps. But just excited for this team to see kind of where they keep going moving forward. How long can they keep this win streak, and can they create a little bit of separation from the teams kind of below them in the standings right now? So it's exciting, and we'll have to see.
Yeah, well said. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. And go tune into the recaps and check out what we're posting. So we'll see you guys with the next one. Peace, guys.